Dan Illman, Mike Beer, one of the co-features on Sunday's Woodbine Oaks card, is race number 10. It's the Grade 2, $200,000 Dance Smartly for fillies and mares going a one-turn mile and a 16th on the E.P. Taylor turf course. Let's take a look at this field. And trainer Bill Mott brings up the morning line favorite, the number 7, Wakanaka from Belmont, where she was a rallying second in the Just a Game Stakes. Now, she had a big pace to attack in that race, Mike, and it may not be as fast this time around.
It doesn't seem like it's going to be. She certainly took advantage, at least to some extent last time. Then I still think she ran a pretty good race against a good field. And I had, certainly liked her form leading up to the Just a Game. But man, it doesn't feel like she's going to have much of a setup here.
But if you believe pace makes the race, look no further than the 4 Lady Spitespear on your Timeform US pace projector. She went gate to wire in her most recent start, the Grade 2 Nassau, going a mile. In this race, she's expected to be in front in the rare gray bar situation. A race with no speed? Well, she's the speed.
Yeah, she probably is. It could be a big advantage for her. I personally feel like she might need a little bit of an advantage, Dan, because, to me, when I look at Lady Spitespear, I think longer distances actually work against her, and I think she's better going shorter. She's going to stretch out a little bit here, but getting loose on the lead would certainly help her.
The number 1, Money Furrow, I believe is pace adaptable. I think if the pace is really slow, she can stay at least close. And she has shown some ability. She won the Woodbine Oaks last year. And I think her most recent start is a good tight. Let's watch the Belle Mahone. This is her first race since Halloween of 2021, an extremely long layoff, not a lot of pace, and she's going to rally willingly up the inside to be third. I think she benefits from this race a lot.
Yeah, I do too. This race just didn't really set up well for her at all. She actually ran fine in this race, had no chance to catch the winner, just sort of staying evenly to the end there. But I thought it was a good race off the bench for her. I think she's probably as good on turf as she is on synthetic. And she's run some really good races on this surface. And I'm kind of with you. I feel like she's adaptable. If the pace gets too slow, I don't think she'll be too far away, although she was certainly pace compromised last time.
Ownership combination of Team Valor and Gary Barber. They not only have the favorite in Wakanaka, they also have the 2 Key Flower, who's run once already at Woodbine. That was the E.P. Taylor in her North American debut last year, and she really just didn't fire her best shot that day. She's run okay in several races at Santa Anita, and I like her cutting back in distance.
I like her cutting back in distance too. She's run okay going a little bit longer. I think she's better going a little bit shorter. She's another horse who I guess could be pace compromised in here. So we'll see how that stuff all plays out. It's a trainer change away from a guy who does a really, really good job out in Southern California. But this filly has the credentials to be a major player in here.
Seasonal debut, North American debut for the 3, Fev Rover, now in the Marcassi barn. While she was far from a win machine in Europe, she was a Group 2 winner as a 2-year-old in France and finished third in the British 1,000 Guineas in 2021. She's another horse turning back in distance, and she was in against Lord Glitters, who's a pretty good one in that race in Bahrain last time. It'll be interesting to see if she's ready to fire off the layoff, but she does have some fast workouts.
Yeah, she does. We'll see. There's a lot working against her. She did look like she had some talent over there. I also feel like when you start taking her European form apart, she was just way better over firmer turf. So hopefully she'll get, those kinds of conditions. She ran really well in the English 1,000 Guineas, and then I thought her form tailed off, Dan. But leading up to that, she was pretty good.
Lady Spitespear, the horse to catch, arguably the horse to beat off this race, a dead heat victory in Nassau on July the 2nd. Going the one-turn mile, she was able to get to the lead. She's hard-ridden down on the rail, and she's going to last for the dead heat with a pretty good one in Crystal Cliffs. She got a fig for this race, a 93, and if she gets loose, she could be tough to catch.
Yeah, definitely. All those things are true. She's a really nice horse. Again, I sort of prefer her going longer. I also still think the best race she's ever run was the Best Arabian on the all-weather track going 7. But she's certainly capable of getting this distance when things go her way. In a lot of ways, she's the horse to beat.
The horse with arguably the most upside in this race is the number 5 Seasons. What a beautiful pedigree by Tappet out of the fantastic race mare Winter Memories. And she put it all together last time out for Josie Carroll in a first level allowance. Let's watch Seasons. This is on the inner turf at Woodbine at a mile and a 16th, and she took the long way around.
Yeah, she runs well in here. She actually wins this race pretty easily with an outside move, takes over readily in mid-stretch and goes on with it. You're right that it feels like she might still have some upside. I personally feel like she's running out of time a little bit. She's been around for a while. Obviously, she hasn't run that much. That was a real step in the right direction last time, though. She's got to get faster.
You still see her a little bit green, cocking her head in the stretch, changing leads a couple of times. She has the pedigree and the potential. Now it's time for her to live up to it. The 6 is In the Winner's Circle, another horse coming off of a long layoff for Cassie. We haven't seen her in about 7 months, where she ran in the Tropical Park Oaks down at Gulfstream Park. That was a race with a pretty big pace, and she just didn't really fire her shot that day.
Yeah. I mean, she got a top figure for the race, but she was never really involved there. I suppose she was sort of steadily moving forward after her turf debut, which I thought was a really good performance as a 2-year-old. And she did get a little better after that. She just hasn't gotten a lot of racing in.
Wakanaka has yet to win in the United States for Team Valor and Bill Mott. She won the Italian 1,000 Guineas in 2021, but she's run well in most of her North American starts, including the Just a Game, a race we talked about earlier. Let's watch that race on the Belmont Stakes undercard. There was a very fast pace going on, and she is going to try to catch Regal Glory, who's one of the better fillies and mares on the turf in North America. She ran quite well to be second. We saw Bill Mott after the race. He was very pleased.
Yeah, I mean, listen, she did what she could do in here. It was a great setup for her. She rallied without threat to a really good horse, and she got herself grade 1 placed at the end. Prior to that, her form was fine, Dan. The race at Gulfstream Park back in March, she did not get a great trip in there when In Italian beat her, and she's run fine since then. She's a really, really nice horse.
Ewens completes the field. This is a filly, a little bit class compromised, perhaps, beaten last time out at Hawthorne in a stakes race. Most recent victory came in a 50,000 starter at Churchill.
She did not, run that well in her most recent starts. There are some other races here where they tried her against stakes competition, and she just wasn't even close to good enough. I don't know. I thought she was pretty hard to make a case for her, even at the big price.
Before we get to our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for all the latest DRFTV video offerings. Top pick time for the Dance Smartly. Money for Row, I think, probably benefits from her last race, Mike. She seems equally as good on turf as she does on synth, and I think she can stay closer to the pace.
Yeah, I looked at her. I had all those same things noted about her, Dan. I just felt like she was a filly who was really getting better towards the end of last year as a 3-year-old. I'm expecting her to continue to develop as a 4-year-old, and I have no problem with them switching to turf with her.
A lot of respect for Wakanaka. Won't be surprised if she backs up her Just a Game with a victory here. I'm curious to see what we get from this European entrant, though. Fev Rover, Lasix for the first time. Mike mentioned, and I agree with him, that I think this one likes a little bit of firm turf, and maybe she'll get it at Woodbine on Sunday. 1734 for Mike. I'm going with Fev Rover. It is the Dance Smartly. Good luck.